Hola a todos. Hoy vamos a aprender el imperativo. El imperativo in English are your commands. You'll also hear me call them once in a while los mandatos in Espanol. Okay, so you're going to be learning basically how to tell people to do something. Okay, to order people around, basically. So the imperative is another word for a command. The imperative is like the subjunctive in that it is a mood rather than a tense. Okay, so it's not really a tense like the present or the preterite, it's a mood. Okay, so it's a little different from English to Spanish because in English, regardless of who you're talking to, typically, if you're talking to a friend, if you're talking to an adult, or someone that you don't know, you would use the same command all the time. But in Spanish, we have 4 different kinds of commands. So you have a to command, usted, ustedes, and nosotros. So in other words, if you're talking to a friend, you would use the to command to tell them to do something. If you were speaking to an adult or you wanted to show respect maybe to someone you've never met before, you probably wouldn't be telling them what to do, but you would use the usted command in that case. Ustedes would be a group of people. You're saying you all study. So that would be like something your teacher would use when talking to students. And nosotros would be like, let's all go do this. Okay, so today we're just going to focus on affirmative and negative to commands. Okay, and you're going to hear me refer to affirmative and negative when I'm talking about commands a lot. Okay, affirmative command means you're telling someone to do something, and a negative command means you're telling someone not to do something. Okay, so that's all I mean when I say affirmative or negative. Okay, so the to affirmative or the to positive command is very simple to create, and if you were here for the Christmas tree drawing on the top of your head, we were using the to form command. So all you need to do to form the to positive command is use the usted form of the verb in the present tense. Okay, and that's it, the LAO usted form in the present tense. So a few examples of some regular command verbs. If I wanted to say walk, the LAO usted form is anda. If I want to say eat, the LAO usted form is come. If I want to say open, like open the window, the LAO usted form would be abre la ventana. Okay, simple for the positive commands. The negative to commands are going to be a little bit different, and they kind of remind me of the subjunctive. So you're going to start, when you want to do a negative to command, you're going to start with the yo form, you're going to drop the o, and add opposite to form endings. Okay, so that's what we do with the subjunctive. You're just not always in the to form. But since we're doing 2 negative commands, you'll be in the to form. So for example, AR verbs would end in ES, and then ER and IR verbs would end in AS. Okay, so now we're going to turn these verbs into negative to commands. So don't walk, we have to have the no first of all, and then start with the yo form, which would be ando, and drop the o, and add the opposite to ending, which would be ace in this case. Okay, don't eat, would be no. Start with the yo form, drop the o, and add the opposite ending. So no comas. And then abrir, start with the yo form, which would be abro. Drop the ending, add the opposite to ending. So no abras, la ventana would be don't open the window. Okay, you have to have the nose there, obviously, otherwise it doesn't make sense. Okay. And then, as always, irregulares. There are irregulars. Okay. So, some of these verbs are going to be irregular in their positive forms, and some are going to be irregular in their negative forms, and some are going to be irregular in both. So, for example, venir's affirmative command is ven. Okay, the usted form of the verb is viene. So it's irregular because we don't just start with viene, we start with ven. And then the negative command for venir is no vengas. Okay, so that is actually normal because you would start with vengo and add the opposite ending. So no vengas in the negative is pretty normal. All right, decir's affirmative command is di, and the negative command is no digas. Salir's positive command is sal, and the negative command is no salgas. And remember, these are just the to form. Hacer's positive affirmative command is az with a z, and the negative command is no hagas. Tener's positive command is ten, and the negative would be no tengas. Ir's positive command is ve, and the negative would be no vayas. Poner's positive command is pon, and then the negative is no pongas. Ser's positive command is say. Like if you want to say be nice, you'd say sé simpático. And then the negative is no seas. Okay. And I know that these are going to be a little bit out of order from what you have in your note packet, and I'm sorry for that. But the reason is because we have this little rhyme, or not rhyme, but sentence, to help you remember these irregulars. Okay, so we have Vin Diesel. This is literally still how I remember it. So Vin Diesel has 10 weapons. Vin Diesel has 10 weapons. Okay? So that's just an easy way to remember the positive to irregular commands. Okay, so I know they don't match the order that you have in your notes, but I wanted to put them in the order of the rhyme just so that you could maybe remember it a little easier. So just as long as you have the correct verbs with the correct command forms, just double check because they are in a different order. Okay, and then I do have two more, dar and a star, and I put those at the bottom because the positive two command forms are normal, but the negative are a little different. So you don't start with doi and you don't start with estoy. So that's what makes these negative commands irregular. So the positive command would be da, and then negative would be no des. Positive for a star is está, and negative is no estés. Okay, and then one last irregularity here, which you kind of already know, is that if the verb ends in kargar or zar, we have to change those endings from C to QU, G to GU, and then Z to, that's supposed to be a C. Okay, and then similarly, you'll just add the S to your ending, but you're still doing the que, ge, se ending. So don't touch, for example, would be no toques. Don't arrive would be no llegues. And don't start would be no empieces. So just notice that spelling change at the end there. Okay, so we will stop here for today. And please just make sure if you have any questions about these that you jot them down and let me know next time I see you. Okay, adios clase.